Well, with Nate Hicks being out, is it going to mean that Daniel Miller's going to need to play more minutes, or will Colson move over maybe?
A little bit of both. I think you'll see Daniel play a few more minutes. The other night, Nate only played 1 minute because he was first day with the mask, and just didn't look comfortable with it. Cam will play some 5. You'll see us play small sometimes.
Are you pretty much set with that 2 to 3 weeks? Is that what they're telling you?
Yeah, it's been saying 2 to 3 weeks. The doctor was pretty optimistic, but we're not going to rush him back. Apparently, it's an arthroscopic procedure, and it's minimally invasive according to Richard. So they actually they foresee me being back in 4 to 10 days or so.
So it's not like the old days when.
No, no, not 6 weeks. I'm sure he's going to be pretty sore over the next couple of days, though.
Okay. You hope to have Glenn Sunday night?
Hope so. They project that he'll be okay, but if he can't play Sunday, it looks like that'll be the only game.
You have to be cautious with this stuff, don't you? Otherwise, 1 down that turns into 2 or 3 down.
That's why it's quarantined. Yeah. That's why Glenn's quarantined right now with that flu bug.
Do you blame the cameo for that? Did he have it last week?
No, it's different. It's different. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Compared to the early season results, what has been the difference in these past 3 home games?
Our guys are big guys, especially just getting more experience. We have fewer breakdowns in the defensive end, especially when ball screens are involved, or if their man is set the screen. Guys like Camion and Nate, Daniel, even who's a pretty smart player, they you see fewer breakdowns from us.
Was there a moment that you kind of saw it kind of click for them? Or
Richmond.
Richmond?
Yeah, I saw the Richmond game. I thought, they were turning the corner. That's why I was so surprised at how we played great defense against Siena. I'm surprised we lost that game. But the Richmond game, I finally saw like the big guy who was starting to understand. I think we've been very, very competitive. We had a very difficult loss to Siena, a very difficult loss to Charlotte. But other than that, I've been very pleased with how these guys, like I kept saying, these guys are getting better.
What about for you, Mon? I mean, he's been playing well all year, but it seems like the light just kind of went off maybe around that time. Did you take
Well, the big thing, Cole, is that he hasn't had any of those cramps. You think about the Georgia game, the Richmond game. There was a the Charlotte game. He was well on his way to having a 30.9 plus 30. But he missed 8 to 10 minutes of the second half in all 3 of those games. Fortunately, I think we won 1 of the 3. But it's just, he's changed his diet. He's lost some weight. He looks much quicker. He's certainly getting up higher off the floor. And thankfully, between the diet and some of the things that Richard's been doing, a lot of stretching at halftime, aggressive stretching with him, which we did with Ishmael and Tony Akins. We had the same problems. A combination of all those things have worked out very well. I wish we could have found it earlier, but it is what it is.
Paul, can you talk about the stretch that Maryland has to go through now? They're on the road tonight, and they have to go home, turn around, and have to come back down here.
Yeah.
When you faced that before, how do the players?
We don't feel sorry for them, I tell you that right now. Just like Gary wouldn't feel sorry for me. You're at a time of the year now where you're probably practicing less than an hour and a half. And I'm not sure what they'll do. They'll probably get together tomorrow for some meeting. But at this point, it's about just trying to keep your legs as fresh as possible. So practice time isn't as important as rehab, stretching, things like that.
Did you have to learn that as a head coach after you got into the business?
Of course. When you become a head coach, I remember coming out of practices, coming out of games and going back and having tough practice the next day thinking that's the way to do it. But the longer you're around it and the more guys you talk to, I've been fortunate to have Gary as a friend, and I could call him, or even, I remember the first couple times we went to the NCAA tournament, I'd call him and ask him, like, what would you do? And one day he told me, don't even leave the hotel. Just do a walkthrough in the hotel room and go back to the gym the next day and play.
Are y'all talking about potentially the NCAA tournament? Or is that something
for us?
Is that too far down the road?
Probably too far down the road for us right now. We just got to try to string some games together.
Paul, when you have a player that's playing as well as Iman, do you tailor your message to him and the other players? We've talked a little bit about this earlier in the year. Do you say, you just keep doing what you're doing, the rest of you don't count on it happening. You got to bring your games too.
Well, I think what we have to do is play off of him. Run more plays to him. Keep the ball in his hands as much as possible and let him make decisions. Because he's going to draw so much attention. The other night, Brian was the benefactor of his ability to draw defense, and also Glenn's ability to draw defense in the middle of the zone. So you got to, if they're man-to-man, you run more sets to him and just trust his decision-making.
The Virginia Tech guards just recently put up 40 points on Maryland. Is that something you take a look at when you approach the game offensively?
Different, yeah, it's different. You know,
Okay.
it's, you know, we're gonna do what we do. And again, we're gonna play through Iman, and hopefully Glenn will be there, we'll play through him as well. But for us, it's, the thing that's been a big key for us is when we defend at the level that we're capable of defending, we become a really good basketball team.
And again, you're going to have to defend inside again with Jordan
Yeah,
Williams.
Jordan Williams, yeah, he's a big-time player, might be the best big in the league right now. I think he's got like 17 double-doubles in 19 games, broke Glenn Elmore's record, he's got 13 in a row now. Big-time player, really big-time player.
If Glenn can't go, who's going to get his minutes?
That would move on,
Just the
Jason.
rotation.
Yeah, I think the rotation. I'm not sure who would start. Maybe start Jason just because of the size of the perimeter. They have some veteran guys. Maybe start Mufon. Put Mufon out there with Mo and Emma.
Speaking of Glenn, obviously he's dealing with the issue now, but what kind of has happened in the last couple of games that you can see that maybe he,
I think that the Virginia game, they just did a good job on it. I think the game the other night was more, when he was in the game, especially with Brian, we really feel comfortable Glenn getting in the middle of the zone. And when you put him in the middle of the zone, he attracts a lot of attention. So you make good decisions, pass the ball, got us some shots. But I think Virginia, they just did a good job. But the other night, I think it's a product of where we put him in the zone. If we had a different guy at the high post and put him on the perimeter, I think he would have made shots also. But he's such a good playmaker at the high post.